Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Cellar 13 Films, Chips, Dips, Films, and Scripts. I am your host, Glenn Spillman, so everyone tuning in, welcome to the show. And as always, if there is a question that you guys have, anything film, go ahead and ask that, and I will do my best to answer. Tonight's subject matter, it's kind of touchy with some people, but should actors turn down small roles, or should and it's a lot of layers there that we're going to go into talking about that. So let me get on Facebook over here so I could be sure to get your guys get your guys questions, that I can see them when we get online here. But before that, I want to give a little shout out to something that I wish that I was going to get to go to this year, but I am not. Gabriel, welcome to the show, brother. Sinister Creature Con. I was there last year, and I was there with my buddy Sean, and Steve Martinez went. Dan Acosta was, I shared a table with him. So unfortunately, I'm going to be out of town, so I'm not going to be able to make Sinister Creature Con. But if you guys in town, it's at the Scottish Rite Center in Sacramento. So if you guys are in town, it's 16th, 17th, which is tomorrow and Sunday. I know Sunday is Father's Day. So any of you fathers out there, happy Father's Day. And so some of the people, so I want to give a shout out to them because I've, I know a lot of the people that are going to be going there and have booths and whatnot. So some of the guests that are going to be featured there, Matthew, welcome to the show. Anton, welcome to the show, brother. Linda Blair, she's going to be there. So hopefully if you show up, her head doesn't start spinning around and throw freaking up on you. Lena Lee Anderson, Paul Sorvino. Paul Sorvino he's been in a lot of freaking films. Probably one of his most notable is Goodfellas. Played Paulie. Lisa Wilcox is going to be there. Lisa's pretty cool. C. Thomas Howell. Michael Berryman, very cool cat. Steve Dash, Thomas Matthews, William Butler, Tyler Main, featured guest. He was Mr. Michael Myers. Actually, speaking of Sinister Creature Con and Michael Myers, I have right here a signed knife that I got from one of the gentlemen who played Michael Myers, and his name is George Wilbur. I do have to say, though, I got to give a thank you to Dan Acosta for giving me the idea of having the guy sign the knives, because Dan has several of the actors that played Michael Myers, and he has those signed by them, so thanks, Dan. So a plethora of people that are going to be showing up, featured artists, a lot of, one of the locals, Lamira Herrera, she's a featured artist. Ange Cuevas, welcome to the show. Excuse me. So, if you guys get a chance to go out there, go check it out. So, the show, why do actors turn down small roles? Now, many actors have their own reason. And I'm not faulting them, excuse me, for that reason. But when you get to a certain point in your career, wherever it is, and you say, I'm not going to do this because I only have 2 lines of dialogue. Well, again, that's your prerogative and whatever, but I don't particularly vibe that way. I mean, I know actors that refuse to do extra roles, no matter what it is, whether it's a SAG movie or not. And I can't reiterate to you guys enough that you never know on a movie set, number one, who you're going to work with. Number two, who you're going to meet. Number three, something may happen to an actor, or maybe a featured somebody, or someone with a small role, or whatever. You may go from extra role, and they might like your look and go, oh man, Steve didn't show up today, I can't get a hold of him, so, oh man, we like your look, can you XYZ? You never know what's going to happen. That happened to my friend, Sean, and he was on Mama's Boy, and he was an extra in the background, and then one of the actors was getting lippy, and the director's like, I'm sorry, man, you got to go, you got to get off set, you're just getting out of hand. So, long story short, they pulled Sean to the front, and they liked his look, and he got lines on Mama's Boy. And another thing about film sets that people don't, well, people do realize, but some people that have this thought pattern, they don't realize that it is a networking opportunity. I mean, I was on Ballbuster 7 days ago. And I got to work with some really cool actors, and I can't say too much about it. Sally says, shh. So I got to work with some really cool people, and networking. Networking is invaluable, especially when you get on a SAG film. You never know who you're going to network with. Now, I'm not saying go on the film and be like, hey man, here's my card. Hey man, hey, let me do this. Here's my resume. I'm not saying do that. I'm just saying strike up dialogue. Strike up a conversation, because there's a lot of downtime on a movie set. What's up, champ? Tony the Tiger Lopez on the show. What's up, brother? Speaking of Tony, real quick, ladies and gentlemen. Tony and I and his crew, we are doing a TV reality show, a pilot. We're filming the pilot right now, and it is called Through the Eyes of the Tiger. And Art, you know, Charlie, Paul, Tony, and this is real live TV. We are chasing real freaking criminals. There's no freaking acting in it. There's acting on the criminals when they get caught, when they start crying, and they're trying to beg Tony not to take them to jail. But there's no script. There's no, hey man, let's make this dramatic. This is real reality. And when Tony approached me about this a few months ago, it was a great thing, and we got some really good stuff on film. And actually, we're going back out Wednesday night, I believe 5 o'clock. And we are in the process of making a little teaser trailer right now. I'm actually trying out, that's one thing that I do. Cellar 13 is a teaching company, so if someone comes up to me and says, hey man, I'm an editor, I'd really like to do something, I don't really have anything under my belt, just let me try something. I give him some footage, I'm like, hey, show me what you got. And I showed Tony one of the things, I didn't like it too much. I didn't like it too much. Showed him the second one, we gotta need a little bit more. But these people are trying, and these are like very, very beginner editors. Now I've got way more experienced editors that is actually going to be editing the show, but if someone wants to try, I give them that opportunity. So, take a look at that when we put it up, and it's going to be a great show, I'm telling you. But, so, there's a lot of downtime in film, so during this downtime, I mean, I'm talking to all the actors, I might be talking to a PA and AD, the director, whomever. You never know who you talk to. I was talking to makeup artists, and during the dialogue, they say something like, hey, I got this other film, and I'm looking for a guy that's big and's got a lot of tattoos. Well, I'm fully sleeved on both arms, and I've got tattoos on my legs, my chest, everything. So I got a role in another SAG film just by talking to somebody because they liked my look. Now, I'm in a film for a place called Sacramento. Romeo Trocino is the gentleman who is directing the film, and it is called The Engagement Ring. Well, I was helping him find some actors to fill a few roles because he was really in need of these actors. Well, there was a certain role for that I said, oh man, I know a friend of mine who would fit that role perfectly. So I said, hey, let me call him up. So I called him and this and that, and number one, but the first rule, well, not the first rule, a big rule on set: never be late. Don't be late. Well, there's a call sheet sent out. It said everyone, a few people at 8, but everybody else by 9 o'clock. So everyone should have been there by 9. Well, up at the top it said scene 1 going to be shot at 10. Scene 2 is going to be shot at 11. Well, this cat thought he's supposed to be there at 11. Well, he didn't show up till 11:40, so it doesn't really matter. You're late. If you read a call sheet, and you know how to read a call sheet where it says call time, whatever that time is, that's when you're supposed to freaking show up. Not when your scene's going to be shot, but when the call time is for the actor. And it was clearly labeled on there. Well, this actor didn't like, they only had 2 lines in the film. They didn't particularly like that. So they pulled the director aside and said, hey man, I really think that the blank character should have more lines. I didn't know this at the time, because if I did, I would have said something to this actor because I'm a friend of theirs. And then I had dialogue with this person a couple days later, and he's like, man, I don't do small roles, man. I only go big, I only do big roles. And then I tried to explain to him, and then he told me what happens, and I'm like, dude, you shouldn't do that. I put your name out there, so when you pull the director aside and act like this, that looks bad on me. Tony Marsh, welcome to the show. Michaela, welcome to the show. So it looks bad on me. So I was like, man, bro, that wasn't even freaking cool. And then they almost, and we're filming again tomorrow, and they almost wasn't going to show up. So I said, hey, if you're not going to freaking show up, let me know now. I'll freaking recast you. I don't have time for this. So that got me thinking. Kevin Johnson, welcome to the show, brother. And again, if you guys have any questions throughout the show about anything, film, or the subject matter, if you have comments, go ahead, put them in the freaking feed. So he's like, man, I don't do small roles anymore, but I'm doing it for you, brother. I'm only doing it for you. And I was thinking to myself, don't do it for me. Do it for yourself. Because, and the person said, well, 2 lines isn't enough for a reel. Well, that's a bunch of crap, for one, because if you are putting together a reel, you could just put in one little quick scene here, one little, you guys know how to put reels together. I don't need to explain it to you. But, and then I started explaining, way back in the day, Academy Award winner Matthew McConaughey took a small role. And his very first words, and one of the most famous movie quotes out there, and his very first words and his only lines in the entire movie was, all right, all right, all right. That was it. That was his, thank you very much, see you later, done. Now what happens back in the day if he says, no, I don't want to take that role, it's not big enough for me. Okay. Well, see, I talk to people in the film industry every single day. People in the film industry call me every single day and say, hey man, do you know XYZ? What do you know about them? And they ask me a series of questions. And I do the same thing. I'll call them up and say, hey man, do you know this person? Tell me a little bit about them. And I've had several people say, hey man, don't work with that person because they're a diva. If you don't give them enough lines, they'll walk off set and they won't even, you know. So word gets around. It doesn't matter if it's Los Angeles. I mean, Los Angeles has several million people, okay? But it's still a small-knit community in the film industry. And your name will get circulated within that community as a person, don't work with them because of blank. Now, if one person says it, they could say, well, I don't like the guy, so I'm going to make something up about him. Or I don't like the girl because I don't, you know, whatever. But if 3, 4, 5, 6 people say the same thing, well, that becomes an issue. And again, if you're the type of actor that doesn't want to take a small role, so what? I'm not saying that you got to take every single role. I'm not saying that you have to take a small role. What I'm saying is, James, welcome to the show. What I'm saying is, watch what you say, when you say it, and who you say it to. Because you never know who's listening. And just because a director doesn't say anything at the time that you pull them aside and say, hey, man, I'm not really comfortable with only, 2 lines, I think they should say, they'll be nice. I'm like, okay, and, but they'll keep it right here. So when another role comes along, or a bigger role comes along, they're going, nah, not going to. If you hand in your headshot, they will just delete it. Or if you go for a screen test, they'll just they'll let you freaking audition for it, and then they'll just toss your picture and resume in the trash. I've seen it done 100 times. Again, think of people, for instance, Sylvester Stallone. The movie Saturday Night Fever with John Travolta. Sylvester Stallone's only role in that is he was walking down the street in a fur coat-ish, and he's walking down the street. The only thing he did was bump into John Travolta. Bumped in, looked back, kept walking. That was it. He had 10, 15 seconds of screen time, no words. Kim Mims, welcome to the show. No words. But Sylvester Stallone, by that time, was already a very well-known actor. I mean, he had already done a lot of film. And if he would have turned down that role, I mean, you could be an Academy Award winner. And there are big A-list actors that take small roles. Maybe only a cameo, or maybe only 1 or 2 lines. But they're doing it for whatever reason. I don't know why they do it. I know some guys, like James Franco, he'll do, stuff like that just to help people out. Because he believes in the art of independent film. And he will do things to help people out. Dwayne Johnson, same thing. He'll do things to help people out. But if you're not SAG, and you're just out doing a bunch of stuff, and you're turning down, well, I don't do small roles anymore. And even if you are SAG, I'm not saying just because you're SAG that you shouldn't do small roles. And I'm just going to go all the way around to the same point. You never know who you're going to meet on set. You're never going to know. The director may look at you and have one of his BTS guys go, hey, take a picture of that guy or girl. And he may ask, and then he may go, hey, man, I've got a perfect role for you to play a mob boss, man. I got this, boom. Tony Lopez asks, should you take a role as an extra? Yes. Yes, you should. Okay. I was on a show as an extra. You could look it up online right now. Go to Paramount.com and look up Ink Master. And look up, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and you'll see me on the show. Well, I was on another show of theirs as an extra. And, of course, my tattoos and everything in the show is freaking Ink Master. I was invited to go to freaking Ink Masters up in freaking Reno. And then I was like, hey, man, a buddy of mine, Brandon, he looks like a cool dude, and he's got tats. He's a cool guy. I brought him up as an extra. And he got freaking all kinds of screen time on the show. And at the end of the show, when they're doing the finale, you'll see Brandon standing right next to me, clapping, doing whatever thing. And he got that because he was, he said, yeah, I'll be an extra. Plus, he got freaking paid for it. So yes, Tony. And then there's like featured extras. Then there's, I was watching a movie last night and I was talking to a friend of mine. Now, you see that person, and these were big name actors. I said, see that person that's just handing them the drinks? That's a featured extra. They get paid for stuff like that. So, and again, the reason why I say yes, be an extra is because, number one, I love film. And I'll do anything, man. Just like, Rick McCollum told me one time, he goes, dude, put a freaking wedding dress on me and a cowboy hat and I'll do whatever you want. And Rick McCallum is one of the producers of the last several freaking Star Wars movies. If you watch Hatchet with Kane Hodder, he was one of the stunt coordinators on there. Shannon Rich, welcome to the show, brother. So yes, Tony, I would implore you to be an extra on a film, because you never know when they say, oh man, one of our guys didn't show up, you look cool, hey man, I got a couple lines, can you go study them for a few minutes and come out? Ange Cuevas says, I'm still thankful for the small part I got in the 24-hour challenge, considering I just started out and have only done makeup. Perfect example. Ange Cuevas came on, and she was going to be a extra, if you will, and then I was looking through the script and whatnot, and I saw her, and I'm like, hey, boom, how would you like to be this person? And she goes, man, I haven't done this before, and I don't know. I'm like, don't even worry about it. Do it. And now she was in the film festival that played at the Crest Theater, and she was in the film Bollywood Disaster. So there you go. And now there's other films that I'm thinking about, and then I think of Ange, and I'm like, hey, Ange, you'd be perfect for this. Hey, Ange, and Ange, I'm not lying, she'll tell you right now. I've already talked to her about 2 films, feature films. Michaela Roble says, I just love acting and can only hope that I can get many more opportunities. Perfect example. Michaela is in the movie that I'm filming right now, A Raven's Cry, and she's worked real hard, and she's done several other things other than what I've put her in, and she's got the heart and the kind of desire that I love to see in people, because they just love film. Let's see here. Kim Mim says, I need a cinematographer for a PCS, speaking of small roles. Kim, call me after this or DM me, because I got you covered. Steve Urbano says, there's nothing wrong with small parts, especially if you're just starting out. Let me give you another perfect example, ladies and gentlemen. Steve Urbano. I was in the film with Bruce Dern. At the time, Susan Sarandon was in it, and there were some things going on. Anyway, it was called Mustang. And it was filmed, I can't even really talk about where it was filmed now, I think. I don't want to get in trouble. But anyway, it was filmed within a few hours of here. And I was called by the casting director, said, hey, do you know of any black or Hispanic or Italian-looking actors that you could bring up, because we need some extras? And I'm like, yeah, let me make a few phone calls. Steve Urbano was one of them. Steve Urbano, Alex Ernest, and a couple other people. There was like, oh, and then Mikey. Anyway, I brought like 6 guys with me. I didn't tell them they were getting paid. And I said, hey guys, I need extras. It's a feature film, and it's starring boom, boom, boom. Do you guys want to do it? We had to leave my house at 3 o'clock in the morning to get to set at 6. And Steve's like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. Anyway, not only was Steve Urbano an extra in this film, but he got a lot of film time. He worked with a really cool actor, and granted, going up and down on the ground on a couple of his scenes. But anyway, he got paid, I don't know, what was it, Steve? I mean, 140, 150 bucks? Maybe it was 180. I don't remember what it was. But they didn't know they were getting paid. And all of them got paid cash at the end of the day. So that is another perfect example of being an extra, right place at the right time. And he got to work with some A-list actors, and he's going to be in a really cool, true story feature freaking film. Plus, the set we were on was freaking phenomenal. Kim M says, Ballbuster needs extras Monday and Tuesday at the Golden One Center. Absolutely. I need to give a shout out to Sally Forcier. Thank you, Kim, for mentioning that. Go to Forcier Casting on Facebook and go to Sally Forcier on Facebook and tell her that Glenn Spillman from Cellar 13 and Kim Mims sent you guys over there. Kim, I believe, put a link up there for you guys to sign up for, and you're going to be an extra in a SAG film. And again, It's at the Golden One Center. It's going to be some cool scenes. I can't talk about it because Sally said don't talk about it, so I'm not. But you'll see some really cool stuff, I'll say that. So I implore you, and you're going to be helping Sally out, and I implore you, you know, to go sign up for that and be an extra in the film. It is 18 and up only due to some things. So I'm not going to say anything, but it's 18 and up. So if you want to bring your kids, can't happen unless they're 18 years old. And says, yes, you have an opportunity, even small, gets my name out, which I am thankful for. Absolutely. So I am trying to get all of these questions that you guys have. Wonderful questions, by the way. Thank you very much. And so, okay, those are the only questions right now. But to answer your question, again, for these small roles, there are a lot of filmmakers out there, like, that are just starting out. Steve Urbano says, Ballbusters will be amazing. I filmed a feature extra spot earlier this week. Congrats, Steve. There's a lot of filmmakers out there that are just starting out, and some of them really are very, very green, and being an extra in their movie, or maybe a small role, or maybe a role that doesn't get paid, do it. 2007, I was in Austin, Texas, and a friend of mine told me, hey, this guy needs an extra in his film. And I'm like, yeah, sure, when is it? And he said, well, I don't remember what day it was, but it was just within a couple of days. And I said, well, what's it about? And he goes, well, it's The Man Who Never Cried. And it was with Keir O'Donnell. And if you guys watched the movie Wedding Crashers, Keir O'Donnell plays the gay son in that film. So he was the star of this particular show. So I was working with Keir O'Donnell in the film, and as all I did was stand about, I don't know, 6 feet behind him, and I was in t-shirt, shorts, and I was at a food table getting some drinks, acting like I was enjoying the party that was going on. That's all I did. Well, that particular film went to some festivals and won first place. And then off of that one, Under the Western Sun, which was in Austin, Texas, I was offered a role as a reporter because that's what I did. I was a sports reporter. I mean, I still am a sports reporter, and someone says, oh, wow, this guy does this stuff every day. So yeah, so I was a reporter in that, and I had 2 really good scenes in there. Fast forward, that was 2007. Fast forward 10 years later, this guy gets a hold of me. It's Facebook. Gets a hold of me Facebook, says, hey, I don't know if you remember me, but I'm blank, blank, blank. And I was like, dang, didn't know you remember me. Dave Badman Huckable, what's up, champ? I said, I didn't know that you would remember me. So he says, hey, I got this thing for you. You helped me out 10 years ago. Someone was talking to me about something, and I thought of you. So I was like, oh my gosh, dude, how cool is that? 10 years later, that someone remembered me from playing an extra role, and now I get something pretty big off of that because I played an extra. So, with little, roles or extra roles, I would always say again, I'm just going to go right back in the big circle. Oh, and Dave Huckable, real quick, brother. The film that I took of you on your last fight a few years ago, you came out of retirement since then, that's why I put it in quotes. Anyway, that clip is up in the film. It is in Notorious Nick. So, you're a star, brother. So, I'm going to go back in the circle by saying, take whatever you can get. Because I feel personally that you are never so big that you can be like, nah, I'm not going to freaking do that because I'm just too big. I'm not going to say the name, but Tony the Tiger Lopez, 3-time world champion. I was talking to him the other day, and he told me a story about this fighter. And the fighter couldn't even keep his cell phone on. That's how, and this guy at one time was making millions. And so a promoter said, hey man, we want to get this guy $3 million. And as all he needs to do is have a comeback fight. We're going to pay for everything, bring him out to Vegas. Everything is taken care for. Well, Tony talks to this cat. This guy was studying around. Oh man, that's really not enough money, man. You know, Big Daddy. You know, he needs more money. Tony's like, dude, it's $3 million. You can't even keep your freaking cell phone on. And then the guy said, talk to my manager. The manager said the same thing. Tony says, hey man, it needs to go down tomorrow morning. If not, I can't help you. Well, Tony didn't hear from this cat for like a week, and finally after weeks, this cat called and said, hey man, yeah, let's do it. Tony's like, sorry, freaking offer's off the table. All because of arrogance, because, wow, I was a big shot at one time making millions of dollars, but $3 million is not enough for me. But yet you can't even keep your cell phone on. The same way with actors. If you think of 10 years ago, A-list actors, think of those actors. How many of them are working now? How often have they worked? Where are they now? There are some actors that I'm like, wow, they're in a Ultra B movie, and I'm like, oh wow, I know that person. And I don't know why they took the role. I don't know their lifestyle right now. But what I'm saying is, they took the role for whatever. Their name is out there. Kenneth Mello, welcome to the show. For those of you just tuning in, we are talking about why do actors turn down small roles? And we've got a lot of good questions on this. And I implore everyone that's not already following our community page, Cellar 13 Films Community, come and follow our group. We post a lot of stuff that we got going on. Other people post stuff up there. Whenever other people are looking for actors or crew or whatever, I post that up there. And it's just a film community. Also go to cellar13films.com. You can check out everything that we've done, what we're doing. We're shooting a documentary. It's on MMA fighter Nick Brockmeyer. It's called Bahana, Prophecy Fulfilled. And I just picked up another story. I'm not going to mention the name yet, but it's another MMA fighter. It is a true story. It is a sad story, and it's a tragic story. But I've been talking to some people to get permission for that, so we're working on that. We got about 6 things that we're in production for right now. But at any rate, I'm going to cut this off here in a few minutes, folks. But again, you never know who you're going to meet. You never know what story's going to get out there. And this person that I'm talking about, the MMA fighter I'm doing a story on, it just so happens she liked something on the Facebook page, and she made a comment, and then I started dialogue with her, and long story short, after the story she told me, I was like, holy crap. I don't mean to disrespect you, but I would love to do a film on this. And she was ecstatic about it. And again, go to Sally Forcier Casting on Facebook. Sign up to be an extra on Ballbuster. I promise you, you're going to have a good time. You're going to meet some great people, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We do this show every week, folks. Cellar 13 Films, Chips, Dips, Films, and Scripts. So anyway, if you guys have any questions after this, just go ahead and you could direct message me. You could leave a message on the feed. And I appreciate you guys tuning in and watching the show. But I'm going to say this one last time. I wouldn't turn down a small role, or only 2 lines or whatever. Unless it's just ridiculous. If you don't like that subject matter, if it's just something against your morals, that's different. But don't turn down a role just because I only got 2 lines, brother. I'm a better actor than that. Bullcrap. Anyway, folks, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Have a great weekend. And for those of you fathers out there, happy Father's Day. For those of you single mothers out there raising a kid, happy freaking Father's Day. Have a good weekend. Peace out.